Okay, everyone, we're here for a third testimony from her.
Another one? It should have been thrown out after the first one. And after the scarf debacle, we shouldn't even be hearing this part at all.
After the murder, the suspect attempted to run behind a partition off to her side.
Why? I'm not seeing any cameras, though.
I quickly caught her and explained her rights to her and arrested her on the spot.
But you don't have the authority. Well, technically in America.
Citizen's arrest.
This is true. And as long as you give her her rights. Yeah.
Yes. When I arrested her, she mentioned the muffler.
Why didn't you take it into court evidence? Is that something else you just have in your purse?
That's what had me confused. The chief prosecutor made to escape, but against Angel Star, resistance is futile.
Or she just didn't try. She could probably bench you. She could probably bench two of you. Have you seen her? She looks like she could snap an iron bar in half just by force of will.
You were quite turned about this scarf, aren't you?
Why is she so fixated on the scarf? That is such a red flag to me. Why is she so hung up on this scarf? That's so confusing. What is it about this scarf that just makes you attack?
I strike like a snake, bite like a cobra. And that's me, Angel Star.
Is this your attempt to get back on the force? Because it's not working. At all.
That wasn't a very good metaphor. First of all, a cobra is a kind of snake. Do not bother with the details unless you want to get bitten.
Oh, do you have bite? Because I'm pretty sure you're all just bark and talk. Because not once have you come up with important details.
No, thanks.
Don't show fear to her. She's being insane. Note to self, Mr. Wright is weak against poisonous snake bites.
No, I think he's just scared of strong women.
That would be consistent with his character arc up until this point.
Chief Prosecutor tried to resist, but her efforts were in vain.
That I don't believe for a single second.
She knocked my hands aside and kicked over an oil drum.
I think that's the actual crime there.
Dang it, we can't go back and actually see the image of the crime scene. But I was fairly certain that the oil drum was on the other side.
I can bring it up so that we can look at it.
No, that's okay. An oil drum? That's hard to imagine.
I know, it is.
Oh, she's beautiful but deadly. A predator, this one. A leopard woman. Row.
How'd you catch her then? You're like, what, $110?
Very well, Mr. Wright. Your cross-examination, if you will.
I don't think we need to, but we'll do so anyways.
After the murder. So, where was this partition on the floor plans? I'm sure she means this wall next to her. That's right. Yeah, oil drum. It's on the other side.
Huh. I wish we had a picture of that.
We do. Well, not in evidence.
I wish we had that in evidence.
Probably shouldn't look up details about the case and pictures because you might accidentally see the answer.
I just want...
Yeah, there was a wall there about 6 feet high. She's obviously trying to hide herself.
Why?
Quite a natural thing for a criminal to do.
Why? There's obviously no cameras. What reason does she have to hide? And why not quickly dispose of the body and frame Edgeworth? She's losing valuable time. Valuable time to get caught.
And what'd you do then?
Your holes have more victim than you think the victim had.
I quickly caught her. Oh, the window's open. I didn't realize that. There we go.
Now it's closed.
You say quickly. Were you close to the suspect?
No,
As
she
I
wasn't.
just said, I was only 30 feet away from her the whole time.
Between the
Maybe
wire...
I should press her for more details.
Press her for more details. Because there's an...
I like to see this on the floor plans, just to be safe. Lunchland car was... Okay, so she was a visitor, and thus she parked in B block. And you witnessed the murder from here.
So, and you can't scale that wire fence. It goes all the way to the wall. How'd you apprehend her? She would have had to go inside. She would have had to go through that door, probably through a mess of connecting doors to get to that side. By that point, the defendant could have quickly disposed of evidence and left the scene.
Yeah. And that would make it about 30 feet from the car, yes? Is that correct, Miss Star? Yes, that's right. But there was a chain link fence in front of you. I went over it, of course.
I don't believe that for us.
Amazing, the cough-up queen. Lunch lady athlete indeed.
It would have taken her a little time to climb over the... No! It went from floor to ceiling!
No. Clearly
Miles
it
is
was...
probably rolling in anger on the other side. He's like, everyone, I'm clearly so much more intelligent than everyone else in this room.
Here's the thing, if it doesn't go from the floor to the ceiling, why?
Yeah, why not? Because that seems like she couldn't have gotten to my sister that fast.
Yeah, the fence was only about 9 feet high.
Okay, it didn't go floor to ceiling, but it did get pretty high. But there's also a truck in the way. And you're telling me a woman in high heels, she could probably scale that fence in high heels. I'm not debating that. I'm debating the fact that Angel climbed that fence in high heels without the basket of lunchboxes.
So how did Miss Sky not get away?
That is the question.
When I arrested her, she mentioned the muffler.
Why?
She mentioned the muffler? What exactly did she say?
Yeah, give us more evidence against you.
If I remembered exactly, I would have told you in my testimony. Cheeky.
Let's throw her entire testimony out.
Anyway, all I heard from her was the word
Why
muffler.
is she so hung up on the scarf? I don't get... she is so hung up on the scarf, and then I am becoming more and more insistent that this scarf actually has something important to it.
Just that one word? So, what you heard wasn't the suspect talking to you, but to someone else? Yes, the chief prosecutor was talking on her phone.
Oh, we've got proof about that.
Her phone? Oh, she can't mean...
Leave it be. No. Ask further. My brain just went...
By phone, do you mean the cell phone discovered at the scene of the crime? Yes, ultimately. Ultimately? My memory is like a salmon headed upstream, you see.
Oh, so it's about to be bitten in
No, the
half by a
court
bear.
doesn't see, Miss Star. Chief prosecutor first attempted to use the phone hanging on the wall. On the wall? Oh, that's right, near the car. She was...
But that's on the other side of the oil
There was an
drum.
emergency phone on the wall. Apparently it was out of order. And she used her cell phone? Indeed, the emergency phone was out of order that day. Good witnessing, witness. Good witnessing? Was ever happened to good testify?
I don't know what did happen to that.
If the court add this to your testimony. The things they do to please a rookie defense attorney.
How about giving us some evidence instead of giving us more fuel to add to the dumpster fire of your testimony?
Do you think you could restate your testimony for the court? Oh, I was gonna ask the same thing. I'll only say this one more time, so listen close, rookies.
I hope You desperately go to jail for perjury.
Chief Prosecutor stabbed the victim and ran into the partition.
I think this whole thing was a struggle. Was a blind struggle to get whatever was actually in Miles's car. That there was something that they thought was in Miles's car, and they wanted it. And that's why the oil drum is kicked over, if it was even kicked over at the scene of the crime. The only reason why I think it had anything to do with it is because of this dumpster fire of the testimony. The initial struggle was by the door that borders the security room, which explains the dropped wallet because he was going inside. Struggle happens then, it escalates to behind the partition where the man is stabbed and dumped into the car.
Then she picked up the emergency phone that was on the wall, but it was out of order.
Why not just use her own phone?
So she pulled out her own cell phone out of the pocket. And during all that time, you climbed the chain link fence? That's when I boldly grabbed her arm. Chief Prosecutor hung up her phone. And you saw her during this? Was it Mr. Wright? She made to escape? Can you be more specific? She brushed aside my hand and ran away. It was a terrible sight to see, like a dollop of lard on pâté foie gras. Huh?
She's so insufferable.
She even kicked over an oil drum at me. An oil drum? There was a oil drum laying on this on its side at the scene of the crime. But it's strange.
Thank you, Miles, with the save.
If you want to escape, why didn't she run the other way? The other?
Yeah, the door
Parking lot
and the
entrance.
ramp. The parking lot entrance, which probably leads into the street. It doesn't make any sense that you would run behind the partition to the oil drums. Excellent, more mysteries.
I wish we could solve a few more for finding more, though. So, Miss Guy decided to run.
I'm sorry my sister is so suspicious, Mr. Wright. She's really not. It's just she's not allowing us to help her by actually telling us what actually happened. Unless she's trying to save someone like Miles from being on the chopping block instead.
Not as sorry as I am. Ow.
But she didn't do it. You have to believe. We don't need to believe you. We just have to believe the dumpster fire of a testimony is wrong. Because apart from the confession, it's all we've got. Or it's all the prosecution has. There's just so many questions, and none of them are about the actual murder, and my brain is hanging on them. Why the dropped wallet? Why is the position of the body in such a far distance away in the far back? Why is she so hung up on the scarf? Why is she even here?
Let's press this again. She mentioned the muffler. What exactly did she say? Yeah.
Cause
She's on her phone.
Cause she doesn't have the time. Why would she say muffler instead of scarf? Unless you call them mufflers. Because 1 second is not enough time. It's the phone. We have to present the phone here. It's on the side right there. You good? Do you need me to do it?
For some reason I was like really messing up. Yeah. I don't know. I honestly do not know.
But she didn't even talk when the call was made because it was to her sister and she hung up. Probably because she saw Angel running over and she didn't want to incriminate or put her sister in danger.
Hmm.
Is it the phone?
Hmm?
Okay. Let me just see the court record we've got. And what is this?
Hmm?
This must be tied to something. This must be motive for something. It could also be upside down. I think it's upside down. It's probably not, but I think it's upside down.
Wait.
It's gotta be the phone.
Huh. This is an update.
Is that why we're stuck? We did things in the wrong order?
No, we pressed every single one of the statements.
Do we need to press them all again?
Whoops.
And would it actually be more beneficial for her to stay on the other side, away from the security door?
Hmm. I like to see these floor plans just be safe. Lunchline car was... Oh wait, yeah, we already saw this.
Yeah, we did.
The chain link fence.
I don't believe you climbed it.
Hmm.
You were probably there. But the struggle was behind the partition.
Oh, I think I know what we have to do. One second. Okay, so after that interruption, I think I actually know what we need to do.
Okay.
So did you actually figure it out?
Is it the cell phone, right?
It is this line, but there's a reason for it. I kind of realized this as I was doing the thing I was interrupted with. If she was using the telephone and then walked away from it to use her cell phone, how did Angel see her?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, oh. Yeah, there it was. Miss Star, I have to conclude that you have a personal grudge against Miss Lana Sky. The witness is a former detective. Her testimony is unmarred by personal bias. Well, who would have thought that my knight in shining armor prosecutor, who you, together with Chief Prosecutor, kicked me out 2 years ago.
Oh, there's the motive against both of them. It's like, and I stand by my choice. It was clearly a good one.
You're both crazy. Well, Miss Star, this is a fatal contradiction to your testimony. How do you explain this? I don't know what you're talking about. Mess with me, I'll make sure you cough it all up.
She's threatened us twice now.
Look at these floor plans. You said that you witnessed the crime from this point. However, if that's true, couldn't possibly have seen Miss Sky making that phone call.
For all you knew, she was escaping, and you should have been on the phone immediately.
I believe you see what I'm getting at. That emergency phone was on the back side of this partition. If indeed you were in B block, you wouldn't have seen it.
Because she was
What?
over by the security booth instead, talking to her boyfriend.
Yeah, she was probably
Why
up in the
didn't
security
I
booth. Yeah.
think she was up in the security booth, which would explain why the ladder was moved afterwards.
What is the meaning of this? It's simple, Your Honor. She's not coughing up lunch. She's coughing up lies.
Miles, just let us remove
That is quite
her.
the claim, Mr. Wright. Perhaps you will allow me a question. Tell us exactly what lie the witness has told to the court.
You mean all of them?
Okay,
'Cause
here's
she's
where
told
the
several-
counterattack begins. I cannot afford to get this wrong. The witness lied about where she saw it. Miss Sky tried to use the emergency phone, but it was out of order. What is significant about this fact? Nothing. Therefore, it'd be pointless for Miss Star to lie about it. Pointless to lie? I see. But say the witness did actually see Miss Sky using the emergency phone. It would mean Miss Star witnessed the crime from a different location.
Which means suddenly she's in danger of being an accomplice for not stopping him. For not stopping her, because apparently we still think it's Lana Sky despite overwhelming evidence against us point.
A different location? Now that's a pointless lie if I've ever heard one.
You know we've told less in this courtroom.
Before you call my lie pointless, at least let me tell it. Let me ask a question to our clever wordsmith, Mr. Wright. Just where was the witness when she saw the crime? All the testimony I've heard now points to one direction. A place from which Miss Star witnessed the crime.
The security room. Which would explain the dumped wallet on the ground.
That too.
Which means she wasn't even near the car when it took place.
This is the only place where she could have been. The security guard room?
Without being attacked immediately as a witness by the person involved.
The security guard room was in the underground parking lot and is well positioned. It's built in the second floor so you could see the entire lot. She would have been able to see the emergency phone from there. But why?
She would have
There's
also
so
been
many,
able to see the kicked oil drum too.
There's so many other places she could have seen the phone. Not in this case, Your Honor. The witness, not being part of the prosecutor's office, could not park in Block A. The only place she could have seen the crime was in the back of the partition here. Remember, in your testimony, you said you brought a lunch to your boyfriend in the security guard room, yes? Well, Miss Star? How many years have I been getting the better of men? To think that the tables could have turned.
That's because you think of yourself way more important than you actually are.
Today, Amanda's got the better of Angel Star.
Try lying better instead of using your terrible cooking and flirtation.
Witness, what have you done? You could have been a detective. You used to be a detective. You should have known better. You could have. I'm not turning back. The guilty will be punished, and I will do what
So you're lying
what
about
I must to make sure that
testimony.
justice prevails. The guilty. Is she talking about Miss Sky?
Yes, because she wants. Mr. Wright, doesn't this strike you as odd? As if she was planning on incriminating one or both of the people who got her fired for incompetence. Why did Miss Star lie? It doesn't make any sense. Actually, it does, Emma. You just lack the imagination to see it. Because you're too naive and trusting of the world at tender age of 16.
Huh.
She could have just said she saw it from the from the security guard station. I mean, it's very believable. It wouldn't change anything.
Exactly. This photograph tells all. It was the defendant who stabbed the victim. The truth still stands.
Wait, how did that picture get taken then?
It still stands? I disagree, Mr. Edwards.
So who took the picture?
What? If a witness is found to be lying, they're guilty of perjury. She knows this. Well, this is the first time this has ever come up in a case.
Was someone guilty of perjury? Perish the thought that law and order would be upheld in the courtroom. Throw him out. He speaks lies and fairy tales. This game is one a conga line of perjury after the other.
I think the problem is that they're trying to say, well, she's not the murderer, so she has to be guilty of something at the end of the day.
She's not. Who else is it?
No,
Who
I mean,
else is the
that is where the
murderer?
game is probably going to go, where it's just like, well, we can't get her on. Well, clearly she's not guilty of murder. She wouldn't risk that without a good reason.
So wait, every failed witness up until this point, we've
So,
arrested of
tell us what-
perjury?
I'm trying to think of people who actually did lie and were not found guilty of anything, and the only thing I could think of was the kid who was under the age to actually be arrested for it.
Or probably to be
Yeah,
sworn
to be
in for
prosecuted.
perjury in the first place, because he was a 10-year-old kid, and why would you hold a 10-year-old kid to such standards?
So, tell us, the reason. Huh? Me? Who else?
Mr. Wright, let's review what we know. Miss Starr witnessed the it's not Emma.
Miss Starr witnessed the crime from the security guard station, but she lied and said she saw it in B block. It must be a vital difference, but what? What would change?
There's such a time discrepancy with the photo then.
Distance? It changes the distance between her and the crime scene. My condolences, Mr. Wright, but one look at the floor plans is quite clear. The distance between the scene of the crime and the guard station is 30 feet. I don't see how that would change what you would see. What you saw was is not in question here.
It should be, though.
What matters is the time it would take for her to reach the scene of the crime.
Because she would need to take a different entrance.
Miss Starr, you witnessed the scene of the crime from the security guard station. Now, how long did it take to go there? To the scene of the crime where you arrested Miss Sky. I think we're gonna leave it there.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, so next time we're...
This is a terrible place to cut off because I have to go now.
Yeah, it's... Ooh.
Oh,
Ooh.
what have you done to me?
See you guys next time.
See you guys, bye.
Bye.